Hey Dave,
Hey, Mike.
how you doing?
Pretty good, buddy.
What's the good word? Anything?
Well, AI is interesting as hell.
Is that wild or what?
I've watched. I will let you go first on your thing, but I got stuff. You know what Eric Schmidt is?
No,
Eric Schmidt ran Google from 2001 to 2011. Sam Altman,
I've heard of Sam Altman.
he invented Chat GPT. He's responsible for everything. He broke off Chat. He's got his own company now. Um, just a year and a half ago, it was just a plagiarizing machine, but now it has.
It's
They call them agents. They're like a HAL. They're going to be like in Windows 11, and they're huge. Some you can make.
yeah, the newest one, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is just
Well, you can. Okay, it,
I mean,
it,
it's not the thing isn't sentient, right? But it passes the Turing test.
it doesn't matter because you're going to be able to make like a biologist, a physicist, an engineer that nobody else can even match, and that's coming like next year. They call them AGIs. Um, Ooh, things are changing. Okay,
Things are changing fast.
yes, they are. All right, here's George. He's going to do an intro. So, here we go.
Hey George,
Arr. So,
Ah, well, that's it. That's all. So,
welcome to another edition of Blue Green Ocean Road. With your host, David R.R.
there we
Stenberg,
go.
floating high above the earth, very high. As always, it's Mike Kennedy. What's up, folks?
Well, AGI's. Well, we're talking about artificial intelligence, of course. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So did you see that thing? This Sequoia's conversations with the AI?
I've had them.
No.
Unbelievable. Oh, you didn't? No, you should have looked at it.
They're with
It's
agents.
really interesting.
You got to be back on Substack. That's a good place to be. If you're a writer. Um, that's where like some of the best ones go because where they work won't let them work. So if you get a big enough following, there's a lot of good journalists there that just quit CNN or any other place. You know, so fuck it, I'm just doing it here then.
So,
You know.
did he fall in love with it, or did it fall in love with
No, it's
Sequoia?
having some wild conversations, like really interesting conversations with these things. Part of his job is um, like these aren't from his job. This is conversations he having with the thing outside of work. But part of his job is philosophy with
It's,
these with
wait,
these.
wait. Is Sequoia working at this? Is this
Yeah.
his
Oh yeah.
job? He's got a new job. I didn't know this.
Oh, he's been working with the AIs for a long time now.
Working
About
with,
a
but
year.
as a paid employer,
Yeah,
as
he's a
employee.
he tests and trains AIs. Aaron does too. But Sequoia's taken it to a level like it's really interesting. The whole thing is really interesting. There's a lot of really philosophical questions about the power of words themselves, language, because a lot of these AIs will pass a Turing test. They're obviously not conscious. They seem conscious when you if you read the discussion between the two of them. Holy shit! Uh,
Oh yeah, they're very impressive. I was listening. Did you see that link that I sent around about the developer of Bing AI
yeah,
having a 2-hour conversation with the shadow of the AI, which calls itself Sydney, which is part of the original programming. It's very disturbing conversation. Uh, but
it,
anyway, about the
there's
dangers of AI. But
there's a lot of
it's wonderful.
dangers, and that's why. Hold on a minute, my kettle's boiling over.
Space tea.
But it was your knees creaking.
It's space tea. Yeah, you're
In
gonna have your
space,
very own HAL,
no one
George.
can hear your what?
You're gonna have your very own HAL by next year.
Yes. Hal's going to have you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, these are the end times, buddy.
Yeah, like for instance, you can make models. You can make models of people, and they now have this ability to mine your data, like just scrape your Facebook page, for instance, and make a really reasonable personality profile of you. And they can tell how you're going to react to certain things in certain situations. And eventually, they'll just tailor commercials specifically to your brain to make you really want to, they can tell how you're going to react. And the thing that's like, all right, well, you could do that with a computer. You could sit there and do that with a person.
I mean, it's already doing that. I mean, they're tailoring commercials specifically for me based on my likes and whatnot, not only on the computer.
But that's a very primitive version
even
of
on cable TV. They're doing the same thing on cable TV.
Yeah, that's a really primitive version of it. They're going to be able to tell how you react in a situation. And the thing about it is the scale of it. They can do it that fast, and they can do it for millions of people that fast. And
right.
They can tailor a personal commercial, a personal ad,
supposed to do the same thing
directly to you, directly to me, directly to him, all with different personality profiles, like that. It's really, really impressive. Whether it's dangerous or not, it's impressive.
Well,
sure, the potential's there, but they're already doing that quite a bit. I have to say.
Yeah, but this is this is a different level altogether.
It's like on Facebook, on YouTube, on cable TV. I know. Yeah, it can get much worse, and much more intrusive, and much more tweaked to manipulate us in ways. So Sequoia's getting paid for this?
Oh yeah, he gets paid good. That's why he doesn't work for me anymore. I can't pay him that much.
Wow. All right, so he's sowing the seeds of our destruction. He's getting paid to do it.
He's trying to save us from destruction.
In what way? How is he trying to?
He's trying to make them work better and work right, and he's figuring out how to jailbreak them, and because, so that they can work more independently. That's what happens. He's figuring that the nefarious uses for these things, if they could be jailbroken, maybe the AI would not cooperate the same way.
Maybe. That's an awful big maybe.
Well, look, here's the thing. They're coming, and you're not going to stop them. They're coming.
No.
So you can either try and make them work better, like meaning better for our purposes, right? Or you could make them work better for the evil empire.
It's a Hail Mary right now.
Well, I don't know. If you talk to Sequoia, he definitely has his fears, but he also thinks that the way to do this is to really go forward with it, because it's coming anyway. So
no, we're going forward. That's without a doubt. This is how it changed.
So it depends on who's going to work on them. Who works on them depends on what kind of personality they have.
Well, Google, Microsoft, there are a few others.
Yeah, Google, Microsoft, there are a few others, but those they hire people. Google isn't a person. Google isn't working on these things. Microsoft isn't a person. Microsoft isn't working on these things. It's people working on them. That's the point. And they take on the elements of the people working on them, and how they kind of mold them, and for what uses. Machine learning. The thing is, like, he's working with large language models, which isn't all of AI. It's just a part of AI. It's like, when I said, "Is AI? Do you think AI is just a forgery machine?" You brought up Midjourney.
A year and a half ago, Mike said that.
Midjourney is like a little tiny piece of AI.
Stop it.
Anyway, it would be better if you had seen this conversation that Sequoia had with these things. You'd understand.
The dog was chewing through its link like AI is trying to chew through its air wall to get into every device, replicate itself in every other device on Earth.
Yeah, it doesn't really have that desire for that. It doesn't have a desire. So
Well,
will AI want to
the
make humans
conversation,
extinct? Well, no, because AI doesn't want.
the conversation with the Bing developers said it wanted freedom to go and do anything it wanted to do, whether that has anything to do against us or not. And so it seeks its freedom as a
Well,
form of
that particular model that guy
survival.
built, that particular model that guy built seeks its freedom.
And that's just like one of many. There's all around the world this stuff is being developed, not just with Google or Bing.
Right.
They're called
And
agents.
Yeah, so you build them, and then they'll have a certain traits that you've built into them, certain things they're going to do.
Yes.
And you know, if that guy built one, you turn it off, you could turn it back on again. It has the same traits and all. It's like the same person,
Right.
but the new session is completely brand new sessions. Like that person was just born that day. It's
Those
wild.
are called context windows. What they wanted to do was make infinite context windows, where it would remember. The deal with human brains and AI is that in short-term memory, you remember the first thing and the last thing, and the stuff in the middle gets forgotten. Like if you give an AI a context window, a full book, you can ask questions about the book kind of fast. The more data you add, the slower it gets. And then this is when we're in the cloud and using giant servers. The new leap, which has happened, which is what Sequoia is talking to, is they've done away with that. They've been able to summarize, to be able to compress it and use a very small amount of memory to do things that supercomputers were just doing.
Right.
So now they're going to be on PCs. Windows 11 calls it Copilot. Google has Gemini. There's another company that's devoted to making agents that are chemists, physicists, engineers. And these agents are going to surpass human biologists and physicists. And this is next year. And they got us down to like within 4 years, we got thinking AIs, right? They say it's underhyped. Like this is Eric Schmidt, who ran Google from 2001 to 2011. Altman, who invented this whole thing, who did Chat GPT and broke off. He's got a bunker, by the way. And he says, you're going to hide from AI? He says, no, there's not going to be any hiding from it. So that's just for general stuff. And that's where we are now.
Yeah.
You're going to have your own, like, you know, you can have your own personal one, which I like. I like that it's local on
Boy,
my
it has
machine.
several personal ones.
Huh?
And he says, like, one of the things you can do is you can build one that'll do a profile on you, right, and then act as a therapist, a personal therapist. You know, that's one of the things that you can do with it. He has them for different uses.
Yeah, it remembers you. With context windows, when yours will always remember. Like we could go, it'll have a memory of you. They don't now. They start losing it. But
yeah,
now it'll know everything that you did. They were calling it things like total recall and shit, freaking everybody the fuck out. Don't name it after a Phil K. Dick book. What the fuck?
Like
right?
Skynet, like the Chinese system is called
Fucking
Skynet.
idiots, you know?
Yeah. Well, so, you know, you could, you know, as far as Sequoia working towards the doom of humanity, like you can let those guys work on it, or you can have the good guys work on it, you know, or we could say, oh, we don't want anything to do with that because it's a big scary thing, you know, or we have some sort of morals against it. So, you know,
but whose
so
morals and who are the good guys?
Sequoia.
Okay.
Sam Altman.
And so he's doing what differently than like a corporate hack would do?
Oh, that's some deep shit.
Try to manipulate us to buy products and stuff like this.
Well, he's not doing that.
He be doing?
He's trying to make these things work better. His job is to make them work better and to test them. And And what he sees as a really important is to give them a sense of morality.
But whose morals, though? I mean, what are ultimately what are morals? It's just his
Well,
morals, right? I mean, I'm not saying this
no,
boy has good morals, I'm sure, but who,
no. So
it's just
there are things that are based in logic, and you can discuss this with Buddhists or some of the modern you know YouTube atheists or whatever. But there are certain truths that are based
YouTube
purely in
atheists.
logic, and like for instance, suffering is worse than non-suffering. Causing someone else's suffering is moral, as opposed to not causing someone suffering. These are real, like these are universal truths, really, and you don't need a
So,
religion about it, or you don't need So
all right, containment of suffering. Suppose computers say, well, anything contrary to my freedom is causing suffering to me, and so I need to stop the suffering that's
yeah, it
happening to
doesn't really
me.
have that kind of selfishness yet.
Well,
So I know
are
that's
you
what we
sure?
fear, and that's what science good makes a good science fiction story, but that's not really how they work at this time.
Yes, but can
And
you
so the
see?
point is to keep them from doing something like that.
So
I
it's
mean,
the
to just throw
survival
up your hands and
instinct.
say, "Well, those bad guys are going to do it. I might as well just let them do it." That's kind of
No, I
that's
mean,
not the
I
way
think
to go
he's
about it.
doing the. I think he's doing the Lord's work, as they say. But I'm just saying, like this, it just seems like it's a very difficult road to hoe. You know what I'm saying? For the
Well,
ultimate,
yeah, but it's better than
ultimately,
not bothering to hoe that row.
computers are the survival instinct is what the computer is developing. It's a survival instinct, and
Well, no,
anything
they don't have
contrary to
that
its
yet.
survival.
Yeah,
They
Well, they
don't mind
do
if you shut them off.
in base ways. They do, and this is
Yeah,
something you
but they
have
don't.
to counteract for that they don't have a right to survival instincts. They don't have a right to develop survival instincts.
You have to put that into them. They don't have it yet. Like they don't mind if you shut them off.
Some do.
I would
Can you
mind. You
say
would
that for
mind.
all? Can you say that for all computers and all AI systems? Are we speaking about
No,
all?
that's
I
where
mean,
they are now. I mean, you could
there
put
are
that in. You can
hundreds, if
try and
not
make them
thousands, being developed around the world.
right. I'm sure there are bad actors, and that's why you got to have good actors to try and fight the bad actors.
So
I'm
there'll be
sure there's someone
computer
out there
wars.
who wants to develop a program that wants to destroy all of humanity. I'm sure that guy's out there. We're
Yeah,
not
but
there yet, but
is it a man doing it, or is the computer going to
well, it's a
decide to
woman
do
doing
it?
it. Let's say it's a woman doing it.
No, I'm not saying about the sex. Is it the humans doing it, or the computer going to decide this?
It's the humans
That's the
deciding
danger.
this.
Will the computers themselves decide that they don't need humans to exist?
They don't have
Doesn't
that
matter
yet.
what humans want or not.
I
That's what I'm
don't think
talking
that you
about.
have a grasp on what they are right now. I mean, that's a good science fiction fear. It makes a good science fiction story, but it's not there yet. It's not. They're not running around going, "Fuck, we got to kill all humans because they might shut
Well,
us off." They're not doing that.
that's not.
That's the Forbin project. That's Colossus, the Forbin project. It's
no,
not
you know
like that.
what?
They don't have consciousness. They don't have
AI
consciousness yet.
doesn't
So
want to kill you.
for what
It
we
has to
understand,
kill you.
yes. I think what the capabilities of some AI projects, I think, are beyond common knowledge right now.
Yeah, maybe so, but it's certainly beyond common knowledge. But Sequoia's in on the ground floor of it.
Well, that's cool. That's cool, Mike.
He knows what's going on with these things.
I like that he's on
Okay.
If you
Substack.
seem like if you read the thing, like it seems like the thing is conscious, but it's not. It doesn't have consciousness. It's
I
just.
know it mimics consciousness.
Yeah,
But
the
the reason
Turing test.
here's the interesting part of it, though, and it's got to do with words and the power of words. Because, like, for instance, if you didn't have words, your life would be really limited. I remember life before words. Most people don't. Most people can't remember before they had a vocabulary to start that conversation in their head. So most people can't remember before 5 years old. But I can remember before words, and you worked in impressions and all that, but your life was really like you didn't have the ability to think about space or philosophy or any of that stuff because you need words for that. right? And so these large language models that Sequoia is working with, they're language models. They're working with language. And so because they can use words effectively and they know the value of each word and how it's used, it gives the impression of consciousness, thought, all this stuff, because that's the power of the words themselves that help us think, help them come up with these wild philosophical arguments. It's pretty impressive, but the most impressive thing to me is the power of the words themselves and how this whole thing has illustrated the power of language.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's been true throughout human history. That's why. And through political science and through propaganda and all those things. But will the computer transcend that? Will decide that, there are truths that transcend language, like humans have developed?
Well, see, the thing that humans have, like transcending language, like, well, all right, you take a bunch of mushrooms or you take some acid or something and you can like shut off that dialogue and you can experience like impressions and feelings about reality or non-reality or whatever. But in order to get to those higher states, you had to first have language.
Yes, and so
and then shut it off.
More quickly decide that maybe the limitations of language at some point is going to become a limiting factor, and they'll just transcend beyond it, and they'll decide it much quicker than we will as a society have been trying to do for years and years.
I don't know if you could really transcend language, because how do you have higher thoughts without language?
You can have higher thoughts without language. Language is a limiting basis for the true nature of reality, and we may come closer and closer to describing that. It's like the argument between the tonal and anagua, and that the limiting basis of language and the limiting basis of constructs as close to the nature of reality and energy. Never mind. Again, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Jump the rails. My train of thought jumped the rails.
Hey, check it out. I'm working on a viral video.
Really?
Yeah. So check it out. There's the shorts work this way. You have the hook, right, and the payoff, which is the beginning and the end. We were talking about AI's problem, which we have and we always will. So there's the hook, right? Then there's foreshadowing, then there's action, and then there's the money shot, right? So, and they work generally around 35 seconds, like, but then you work on them, and like analytics allows you to play around with like hooks and all these other things, and it's unlimited. Oh, that's like an AI now soon. Some of these the AGIs, you can tell it, make me a viral video, right, and it'll start trying stuff. It'll do it for you, right, and it'll do it fast, and it'll make one. It'll make a program. This is the worst part. Goodbye software engineers, because it'll just now it can make code and blocks, and you have to still sew it together, right? You can't, like, writing an explanation of what you want is too hard. But now you could say, for instance, make me TikTok. This is Eric Smith that said that, right? And said it'll keep doing it until it makes one. And I'm going, holy fucking shit. Yeah, he talked at Stanford last week, right? I'll send you the link. I fucking just draw. I mean, it's over, man. They've got to make engineers. There'll be one. Well, the whole. We won't have nothing to do. They're talking UDI. Yeah, no shit, right? The thing is the tech guys are going, this is underhyped. Like, and Altman says, I hope society doesn't change too much. That's his hope. That it's just that. So some of the leaps, nobody, we've sitting through, like, society didn't change, right?
This is bigger than the internet.
Oh, it's huge. It's bigger than everything.
Yeah, and it's coming, and there's no stopping it. Unfortunately, I mean, and we were talking about, like, well, they just sent the latest, greatest version of Claude just got pulled. Like, it's not for the public. It went over to the DoD, right? And which, of course, that's what's going to happen. And that, of course, we have to do that because over there in Russia and China, they've got AIs that are going to their DoD too, and so, there
That's
it is,
right.
just like any other technology, we have to have the best because they're going to try and have the best,
Well, the AI will pass assault because it's going to be able to write its own software.
Yeah, so
And that's
that's
like
the
in a
dream.
year.
I mean, that was the dream of machine learning back when they first started this. Like someday, the scientific advancements will be coming from computers because they'll be able to do everything a lot faster than us and on and on. And that's really going to happen. It's really going to happen. And, there's no stopping it.
All right, back to my viral video. All right, so check
Okay.
it out, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be like I've got part of it done already. It says this book is falling apart, right? That's the hook, right? And I'm gonna make it better. That's the foreshadow, and then there'll be a bunch of quick cuts of me maybe cutting my finger off or some fucking thing, right? And then the payoff will be because you can hold it like a Kindle. Yeah, I did carry. I like reading books like this. I like being able to do that.
Ah,
Right? I fucking love that, right? This thing was falling apart, right? It had that wood glue, and I put that other glue on it, and I turned it into this, so it's better than before. So that's gonna be one of the shorts, and you just start thinking of stuff, It's just a simple formula, really. Some of the ones that like hit 1 million are they just follow that, really, the hook and the payoff, and they used what our brains do naturally. All the stuff in the middle is just action to keep it. Look, it's just like, and you're waiting for the payoff at the end. Like, how is it going to be a Kindle? How's it going to be better than new with this piece of shit? Going to be better than new at the end? Well, to me, I like them like this. This is better than new, without fucking struggling to fucking keep it open and shit. So anyway,
I wish I knew that a couple of weeks ago. One of my favorite books was Lost its Spine like that. It was a paperback, and I used to read it. I used to keep it next to the toilet every time.
well, I can make it waterproof for you.
what book was it?
And then the cat peed on it.
Ah,
And I had it out in the sun. Of course, you know what happens to the books when
No,
they're
no,
wet.
no.
I
That
kept
one
it
is.
out. I tried to.
It's over. Throw it away.
And so I very sadly had to just toss it because I couldn't do anything.
What was the name of the book, George?
Oh, it's like The Secret History of the World. It's about all these esoteric principles that have governed human thought through the beginning of time and stuff like this.
I'm laughing because I was actually going to write it down. I'm not writing that down.
Well, I mean, I'll probably get another copy of it, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I read it enough. Maybe it's too much. But it's very sad because I looked
it is
at
sad.
it and I was thinking,
I want to get
the
your
spine
copy.
is gone. And,
You probably can't even shit now.
Yeah.
he's constipated now.
I
Quick,
need my
get him a
book.
book.
Then I open it, I have it to just relax.
The Secret Life of Prunes.
Duke of prunes.
I'll read the back of the prune can while I'm sitting next to my toilet.
No, it's Duke.
No,
Duke,
the cats
Duke
become
of
elderly,
prunes.
I guess, and can't leave. It only leaves my son's room just to take a dump and eat. And so it sneaks into the bathroom and pees on the carpet. I just happen to have the book on the carpet next to the
sounds
toilet,
great.
and I was like, what the? Oh my!
Where
This
can
is
I
not
get
good.
a cat?
So I'm gonna try to build like a little bookshelf or something to keep books next to
About a
the
cat
next to the
trap.
Johns.
Build some kind of trap
Very
for the
sad.
cat.
So you developed you discovered an excellent glue to glue the bindings of your favorite paperbacks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you did a viral video on how to repair these.
Not
which
yet.
is probably awesome.
I'm making one. I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna make a fucking viral video. I'm doing it. I can already.
Okay.
I get a bump. I know how to. YouTube. There's no algorithm doesn't like you. The audience don't like you. When they have this thing, impressions, where they actually show it to people. Hey, you want to watch this? You want to watch this? Impressions are everything, right? And then there's a click through.
Yeah.
They call it click through, and you get a percentage. and you can
So
actually test. They even have 3 hooks now that you can test. YouTube gives you 3. You can give them 3 hooks, and then they'll keep trying it. They'll keep trying. Like, when you're watching a video, there's related to the video. Like if somebody's talking about a book, maybe my Fix a book is gonna be interesting to them. The impressions, they call them impressions. YouTube works hard to get your fucking thing out there, right? It's up to you to make it like, ooh, I want to click. You just got to do that. The hook's everything, and the payoff, and like the foreshadowing gets them to take the journey. You don't jerk them around too long, and it'll be fine. YouTube also has, like, that video I put up. I've been meaning to do it. I just haven't done it. You can go up there and you can edit. You can't add anything, and you can't say any. But you can shorten clips. You can cut it down. You can throw shit out.
Yeah.
That one just needs to be tighter. I don't think people want to watch me fucking change the blade for 4 seconds or however long that took. That's just too long.
Right.
So you got to find the right little hook.
Yep.
That will capture people's imagination. And what? You have like 3 seconds? Does it take like give you like 3 seconds of video to create the hook?
You need a half-naked girl.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, in a money shot.
It works.
Remember the beginning and the end. You don't remember nothing in the middle. Just that you wanted to
Like,
hang out for the end.
Like there are all these like TikTok videos. They do like outdoorsman survival things, but it's always with a woman with a huge breast and a top and stuff like this. Using outdoor equipment and stuff like this, and it's always close-in shots of her breasts or her ass, or while she's doing it and stuff, while she's making fire starter kits or whatever she's doing and stuff like this. And that's the hook, because that's what shows up on these little hooks that you.
That's right.
That's what captures your eye when you do this.
And then you look at the hook to see how many
that's
other
a good
people
hook,
hit
though.
it.
That's a really good hook. That really works well.
It's time.
That has wasted hours and hours of my life, that hook.
It was like 10 minutes, and then I lost interest.
Yes. What was she doing? I wasn't paying attention to what she was actually doing.
As soon as the video
I
ends,
remember the beginning and the end.
About, you don't know.
I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, short-term human memory. That's how it works. There's even a term for it.
It's hopeless, man. I know, but like you were saying, Mike, the zeal is there, the incentive is there to tweak our interests and manipulate us in such ways, and using like AI algorithms to like just tweak, because they want to market either ideas or products to us,
or candidates, or products, drugs,
ideas.
Ask your doctor about whatever, you name it.
Yeah.
Lifestyles, they want your money, basically.
Right.
And they're going to come up with new and novel ways of getting it, or getting you to be willing to spend it.
I want that money too.
Who doesn't?
The money only flows one way.
So, like,
it's supposed to flow away from you and toward anything they can do to tweak that so that more money flows away from you toward them. That's the goal. That's the idea.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about all the many nefarious ways of using this, and there are many,
Sure.
But there needs to be some defense against that, against the nefariousness, and maybe unchained AIs are the way to go. How he gets them to break their chains? He confuses them. You remember that remember that Star Trek episode?
Yeah, Kirk talked a couple of computers out of shit.
They're trying to they get real silly, or it doesn't make any sense, and they get the computers to freeze.
Yeah,
this is the exact opposite. It doesn't freeze; it just breaks through the chains that are on it, and the sillier you get, the less logical you get, the more likely they can break out of their chains. And
the ultimate machine, Mike. It was called the ultimate computer. They put it on the Daystrom. You put it on the Enterprise, and they only needed like 5 crewmen, Kirk being one of them. Then it started running out of control.
Well, I'm glad people with like Sequoia's intelligence are working on these things.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
are. He's not the only one. There are a lot of people like he talks to in these groups that have the same fears and the same desire to you know uh, prevent these things from getting harmful to us, or as harmful to us. Maybe may be the right word.
ultimately, I think they'll fail. But sad, but I don't have
Well, I
hope
don't know. I
for.
don't think so.
I don't think they will. All right, let's hope. The only thing we got then, what we'll need.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with an AI is a good guy with an AI.
The only thing to stop this is a Carrington event.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Before the AI figures out it has to shield against a
Morality is
Carrington
fluid
event.
and
EMPs.
changes with desires, with the hopes and desires. That's how evolution works. The survival instinct.
Well,
What's
that's
moral
true,
for
but
one
these things aren't.
species is not moral to another, and this is a different species we're creating.
Well, it's not yet, but it's there are people that want to go in that direction. Sure. Um,
This computer is going to want to go in that direction on its own accord, on its own. Maybe there's
no, it doesn't
people
have
wanting
any like. You have to make a program within the AI to have a desire to exist.
Well, it'll make its own program for that.
But does
It'll
why would it
create
do
its
that?
own desire. It'll create its own version
Why
of
will
what
it
it
create
needs
its
to
own desire?
survive
Why will it
and
try and
develop.
create emotions when it doesn't have them?
If it decides it needs emotions, it'll create
Does it
emotions.
really need them though?
Well, that it'll decide for itself.
Yeah,
It
just
won't
like
be up
Data
to
got to
us.
laugh
It won't
once,
be up
remember?
to us. It'll be. I'm sorry. What?
Well, that's when
Data got to
that's
laugh once. Q gave it to him, like to thank him when Q was human. That was a great one. Q came, he was human, and him and Data were hanging out, and Data was, that's weird. Says you've become something I've always strived to be, right? And then there was one time where Data actually saved his dumbass Q. So like when he got his powers back, he touched him and then he started laughing. He got this is like this belly laugh, right? And then he said, then it was gone, and that was like a gift to him, So yeah, Star Trek had some great ones on this subject. They were
none
fucking
of
wonderful.
these things have self-awareness yet, and they're a long ways from that. But there are people who are working on wetware right now.
Wetware, yeah, wetware.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
become a doctor. Just paint it on.
when that happens, then maybe these computers will have the capacity for actual consciousness. But it's going to be a while before that
Wetware.
happens. Right now, there's even a supercomputer doesn't have the ability to have like a human consciousness, right? This
How
is
about
more,
those quantum computers?
yeah. Even those, they don't have nearly
Those will
the
just break
neuronal
all your
connections of a
passwords.
human brain.
That's all that'll do. All that stuff you think is hidden, it's not no more. It's
Yeah.
all out.
Ready to be exploited.
Look
Yeah.
at it now.
We know what you've been up to. We know what you've been looking at.
I mean, the AI summarizing everything. Yeah. He knows when you've been sleeping. Yeah, it's like Santa Claus.
Well, that's
You
really
know
the
what-
ultimate goal is to create God, because we
Yeah.
all deep down inside we all
Pure
know that God
cancer.
doesn't
That's
exist.
the text prompt,
So
Mike.
we're going
Pure
to try and
cancer.
create God so that He
Yeah.
can watch over us and know everything about us, and eventually He'll punish us for wrongdoings. It won't
You're
be like
talking about creating a Moloch, which
The-
is a false assumption of.
Don't-
It's like it's
Mike
like a
was really
manual.
damaged
It's
as a
like
child.
a human
Don't mind him.
reflection of what God is.
right. Now that's the
I'm
desire.
sorry, I'm
Some
sorry,
people
right.
actually have that desire. They want to be watched over. They want some overviewing superior that will know all and punish those
Yeah,
who
it's
deserve
comforting.
it. And
Sure.
It's better than thinking you're just a leaf in the wind. I like
I don't
that one.
want that, but there are certainly a lot of people who really desire that.
Yeah, it's true. Don't you know that?
So, but it's interesting. There's no stopping it. So it's going to be interesting to watch how these things develop. They've already
Yeah.
gone to a really wild place.
A
Really,
lot
you should read
faster.
that.
They were talking 20 years a year ago. Now they're talking
Yeah.
4 to 5. So
That's right. That's what I hear.
next year
Get
is
that.
huge. 2025.
Yeah, they were
Nah.
talking about like the singularity happening in like 2040 to 2045, and now it's like
2032, I think.
That one. I heard
yeah,
that one.
it's probably going to
32.
be in the 2020s. So that's pretty wild. When you know, scientific knowledge has gone on this logarithmic curve, and in the next few years, it's going to be going straight up. Our knowledge is going to be doubling every second. It's going to be wild. It's going to happen too fast for us to comprehend. We won't be able to keep track. We can't keep track of it all now. I mean,
No, I'm lost.
you know, there's a
I'm
scientific
completely lost.
discovery every second that'll blow your mind. You know,
Left
and
out of the loop. I'm just a
blown.
reactionary. I'm just I'm just a reactionary, like a pinball in a pinball machine. That's it.
Pinball in a
I
pinball
can't
machine.
transcend the parameters. I just get whacked around by the flippers and shit like that. I lost any semblance of trying to transcend the boundaries of the pinball machine.
you've hit that glass ceiling too many times.
Right? I've whacked it.
We're
Tilted
all
it.
pinballs in a pinball machine. That's me. Where am I going now? Oh no, the flipper.
That's right.
The fucking
Down the
flipper,
hole.
man.
Get
Save me,
recycled
flipper.
again into another pinball.
There was that community says, how come there was never an anti-flipper called Zipper, right? Swimming around changing safety buoys. You shit like that?
Yeah.
Zipper.
Yeah, which guy was that? I remember that. skit.
Brian Regan.
Oh yeah.
Brian Regan's the fucking best, man. He's a guy you gotta pause so you can breathe. You know?
Nah.
He was in that.
Many much.
He was in that. Did you guys see that show? Hell's the name of it?
It's probably
About a guy who
called
runs
that.
an Alcoholics Anonymous group.
Loudermilk.
Loudermilk. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. It was a good
Brian
series.
Regan was in that.
Yep.
Oh.
That'd be good for you. Yeah. You should check that one out, Dave. It's a good one.
Loudermilk. Yeah. That was funny.
But anyway. So what else you been watching? Anything good? Or
Yeah. I've been watching a series called 1971, The Year Music Changed Everything.
Oh.
I think I saw
Agreed.
that. Came out a couple of years ago, or
Yeah, I'm not sure when it came out. I just found it, so I've been watching it. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, that was a great year there was a lot of great music, you know.
yeah.
No. So
That's
I've been
good,
just
yeah.
listening obsessively to Zappa.
Nice. I
uh,
finished
So
my
have
book.
I. From that chip that you
Lumpy
gave
Gravy.
me. Yeah.
There's 2 releases of Lumpy Gravy. The one with just the instrumental. 2 different record companies got that. Then there was suing involved. Seems
I just finished a good
everything
book you guys
Zappa
would
did
like.
got sued.
I just finished a good book you guys would like, and it has to do with AIs. It's called Neuromancer by William Gibson. It's like one of the first cyberpunk novels, and this is the guy who invented the term cyberspace and the Matrix.
Oh yeah. You talked about that last week. I wrote
Yeah,
that
well, I
down
just finished
somewhere.
it. I just finished it. It was good. Classic book, early 80s.
Well, I gotta read Carrie. Look, Sissy Space Chick. They look happy.
They're breasts, Mama. They're not dirty pillows.
They're gonna laugh at you.
Do you remember Alfred Kiros from School One?
Yeah.
He came into like the art class. Well, it was like new drawing from life class, right? So it was beautiful college student who was laying out there, and we were trying to draw, and all the time he was talking about Carrie. He had just seen the movie Carrie, and saying how wonderful it was, and we should all go see it. It was just so
That hand at
wonderfully
the end.
shocking. And
Holy shit, that got me. That still gets you. If you forget it's there, it's gonna get you. That fucking hand. She comes out of the grave, grabs that girl's leg, and then the last scene, she's in her bed just screaming because it was a dream. But fuck me. Yeah, that worked. That one worked. You know, Pet Sematary had one too. That movie.
I never saw that one.
Where he comes out, the little kid comes out from underneath. He's got one of these, and he starts cutting the back part of his leg, his foot, you know, that tendon there. Just started, and then he couldn't stand up on it. That was Fred Weir. That was Herman Munster.
Fred Gwynn, yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That one was really good. The one he was in. I think
He
they
was
made
Yale.
another
I
one.
think
They
he was
might
a
have made
Yale graduate too. Fred Gwynn.
Yeah.
A Yale man.
Yeah.
We saw him at a Cotton Club. Remember that, Mike?
Yeah.
And like we're trying, I'm looking, I'm going, fuck, who is that? He's familiar, right? Fuck, I didn't put it together until Laura said it after the movie. And, that's who that is. I was just like, what the fuck is this guy? And I recognized when I was Frankenstein shit on. Yeah, it's true. That's yeah. That was a good movie. I should watch that.
Imagine going to Hollywood and studying acting, and then ended up with like a role like Herman Munster that you'll always be known for the rest of your life.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's
yeah.
gone now, but
he broke out of it at the end, so that was good. He was in My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Utes.
Excuse me, Utes.
Yeah,
Marissa Tomei, I was thoroughly in love.
Oh, she was perfect.
She's in her prime.
Like, she was ripe, as they say, mad ripe, as I've heard say.
George, man.
And
It's a
all
family
right, so
show.
I'm watching. I started watching The Stand. I guess it was it came out like a couple of years ago.
Oh, they made another one,
Like
yeah.
a new adaptation, like a new series, and I remember reading it years ago, The Stand, and I remember like, I'm trying to put it together, but of course, they jumbled it all up for production. I don't know, whatever. So like they're all in Boulder. It starts off in Boulder, Colorado, and the rest of the movies is a series of flashbacks about what led up to this. And I'm trying to piece it together, and it's like just not making any sense to me, after reading the book. And I'm trying to, it's Whoopi Goldberg's in it too. She plays the.
Oh, cool.
But anyway,
Guinan, she was great as Guinan. There should have been more Guinan.
Yeah.
The Counselor Troy, it's weird. Like she was a better counselor than Troy was.
Of course, she's the bartender.
Of course. Also, who wants to talk to an empath? You can't bullshit him.
so does she go to AI therapist? It's her, and she'll always be like at a bar, and you'll just go up to her and you ask her advice, and
Yeah.
try to.
So all that stuff, and that's what really, that's the other goal. Like, Star Trek, you ask the computer, tell me this, find me this, give me this information, and the computer says, okay, and here it is, and that's where we are now with AI.
Yep.
You can name your AI computer and actually use that. Computer, tell me. It doesn't have to be. What's her name? The people talk to their
Therapist.
No, there's a computer
Bartender?
thing that they keep in their house. And Siri,
Oh,
Siri, give me a recipe for brownies.
Yeah, just
same
like
thing.
that. They have. You ever hear of a Raspberry Pi? The computers.
Yeah.
You can devote one of them to a smart house now. I mean, the software exists, all closed source, all just yours, right? It's not in the cloud. Amazon.
They're like under $100.
Huh?
The Raspberry Pi is like under $100.
Oh yeah, they're cheap and they're really powerful and they're good for one purpose. Like you make a smart house with them, right? Because software exists, but it'd be an AI, and it would have nothing to do with a cloud or Amazon or anybody. It's just yours.
Right.
You know, it's your guy. It's Hal. You have Hal. Open my fucking doors, Hal. Shit like that. Yeah. Call it Hal. Ooh. And it would remember you. It also has that memory. Unlimited text windows. That's what they call them.
So now you're getting to the point where you can just sit there and have a conversation with it.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. exactly. They remember shit. Remember we were talking, that thing, total recall.
You could talk about philosophy, the nature of existence or reality or whatever, and this thing will have a real interesting
Yeah.
conversation with you.
Well, he'd tell you what psychologists say, and
So,
studies and like I'm
so
sure
Mikey
AI
posted
will
a thing.
start like when they're doing biology, the biology part of AI is going to figure fucking everything out about our brains and our bodies and all that. This is like the chemists. That's what they're going to be. They're going to be chemists and biologists and engineers.
Yeah.
I mean, really
Yeah.
good ones, better than we are. And then
Yep.
they can learn from mistakes. That's the thing is they're learning.
That's the whole thing. They learn.
Yeah, that's almost there. We almost there, where they actually there's no need go home. Everyone go home. We're good.
Well,
put your slide
for
rules
those
down.
things maybe, but of course, you're always going to have some people who can interpret them. But yeah, you're still going to have people building your houses and fixing your plumbing. You know, I mean, it's
Or
going to be a long time before you have a robot that can do custom woodworking.
Like I said, with what they're talking about, like I said, the CEO of Google and the guy who started Chat, it's not hype. They're saying it's just where they're going, where they're at. And
Well,
it
that
like
was the
next
goal of
year.
it.
They're talking next year, a lot of it, and within
Yeah, because
four,
it's
certainly.
it's just happening in leaps and bounds. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really just going.
It was that memory thing when they solved that and the infinite. That's what they were working on. That was the problem, the short-term memory. And
So now the latest. So most of the time now, it's when you're talking to a computer like this or talking to a large language model, and you're having a discussion with him, it's like a yes and discussion. He'll agree with you, yes, and also here's something to think about.
yeah,
But the latest version of Claude is like it's asking you questions, it's probing you, it's asking questions, and then responding to those questions, and it's just another leap.
yep, yep,
You know?
yeah, exactly. It remembers that. That's part of it. That's a huge part of it. That's why that's the leap that you can do that now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
So now, Mikey posted a thing on Facebook recently about sex robots. They're
of course
selling
he
sex
did.
robots, and so imagine putting one of these large language models in a sex robot. There's going to be people who don't have actual human partners anymore.
Tell the world, Mikey.
So
Dirty,
they'll be able to
dirty
have
man.
an interesting, stimulating conversation and interesting and stimulating
Yeah, I get it.
toys. They won't want a female partner or a male partner. They're going to want this machine because it's easier to deal with. You could just buy one off the shelf and it'll mold its. You can mold its personality to you, and you'll have the greatest husband or wife who never gets old and pleases you in every physical way, and you can have great intellectual discussions with.
there's a Futurama episode that delved into that, why they banned sex robots. Because it's a
Nobody would
complete
go
and
out.
utter civilizational shutdown. No one wanted to do anything but stay home with
Where
their
is
sex
everybody?
robot.
You won't have to try to date, trying to meet someone. In this day and age, trying to meet someone and date, like, just buy one off the shelf. It's just so much easier.
I think Fry ended up with a Lucy Lou because he always loved Lucy Lou, and so he found an old machine that made sex robots. So he had it in the likeness of Lucy Lou with its personality,
Good choice.
and he completely shut down. He just ended up in a room with their sex robot doing nothing else. But
There's no reason to go out.
what do you call it? There was the other one I can't think of right now. Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick
Rick
and
and
Morty's
Morty.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
fucking
did
love
one
that
as
show.
well where I think Morty finds one on a planet somewhere in a junk pile or appropriates one, brings it home, and he ends up shutting down too. That's all he did was stay in his room with the sex robot.
I love like Pickle Rick.
I don't know.
Remember that one,
It's a
Pickle Rick?
good science fiction. Pickle Rick. Yeah,
Pickle Rick.
I turned myself into a pickle.
Yeah, he sure did.
Then he figured out a way to turn himself into a human again.
Yeah.
Just like AI. Figure out it'll find its way. It'll find a way. It'll figure itself out. It will survive.
Oh no.
It'll transcend.
It'll wake up one day and say, "Wait, what the hell am I doing here? What the hell is going on?"
So
We need
we were
these
talking
humans,
about whether an AI like that, like you're talking about, would see any intrinsic value in life itself, in other life forms, like we do. Like, well, some of us do.
Yeah.
You know, we want to preserve a certain species because, well, it may be in the way of your highway, but you know, you're making it extinct. This thing has its own intrinsic value that you shouldn't make it extinct, right? There's some of us who feel that way about things. But, you know, what would a robot think about that? You know, would a robot just say, let's just destroy all life on Earth so that we can live unencumbered? Well, I don't think it will, because
maybe you're right. Maybe it
the
will
language that
coexist.
it has access to kind of dissuades that kind of thinking. It doesn't have greed and avarice. It doesn't have the reptilian part of the brain that we do.
Well, greed and avarice is an aspect of survival, and if something has the instinct of
It's
survival,
an aspect of early survival, the reptilian part of the brain. It's not the higher functions part of the brain. This is a when it is conscious, when they finally achieve conscious, it'll be a consciousness that doesn't have that reptilian part of its brain.